The race to create a bioengineered human being, a child.
Oh, honey, that's wonderful.
Are you sick of your baby? The answer is yes. Would you like a genetically engineered one? The answer is yes. Are you glad that people are already genetically engineering babies? The answer is yes. Hello there, you awakening wonders. Thanks for joining me for Russell Brand Unpacked from our Stay Free franchise. Remember, you can support us by joining us at these times in these places for live shows, interviews, and deep dives like these, my personal favourite. As Silicon Valley pushes into the most intimate realms of human existence, reshaping how we are born and how we grieve, what happens to a civilization that allows its technology to redefine life and death themselves? Well, it collapses is the simple answer, but let's get into that now.
While the race for AI captures all of the headlines, there's another one quietly brewing between Silicon Valley executives. The race to create a bioengineered human being, a child. The Wall Street Journal has some extraordinary reporting out that a small company backed by none other than OpenAI chief Sam Altman has spent months pursuing a secret project for a genetically engineered baby. They're working toward creating a child born from an embryo edited to prevent a hereditary disease. Editing genes in embryos in order to create babies is banned in the United States of America, so the company called Preventive.
Same as when gain-of-function research got banned in America. They're just going to outsource genetically engineering babies to a territory or terrain that's outside of US jurisdiction, but ultimately within US dominion.
Has been searching for places to experiment where embryo editing is allowed, including the United Arab Emirates.
Sam Altman's family office and Coinbase co-founder Brian Armstrong are backing this company, Preventive.
How about genetically engineering people's sexuality or their identity or their race? You can see that human morality, human reason, divorced from divine surrender or submission to the divine, could head in literally any direction. Hitler would justify going in one direction and Bill Gates in another. The best thing is to surrender to God and accept divine principles, which are, by and large, written down.
Which, as you mentioned, is conducting preclinical research to attempt to create a baby from a genetically engineered embryo to prevent a hereditary disease.
Look, I sense the demonic in all this. Do you?
Behind the scenes, the company has told people that a couple had already been identified who was interested in participating in the research.
Can you imagine that the amount of controversy caused by the pun around the word genes when Sydney Sweeney was advertising them Eagle jeans? It's in your genes. Do you think it's a bit racist, for a white person to use a pun about genes? Well, look, puns, we can have a discussion about puns around genes. It's probably not a good idea. It's bad. But here, there are actual stories about the inconceivably wealthy conducting gene experimentation. And to what end? They always dress it up like, all of these things, Neuralink. It's there to help, but, they'll always, the outlier ideology will always be, it's there to help you. Like the pandemic. We're just locking you in your house to help people. We're just genetically modified babies to, repeat after me, help people. But we've seen where this stuff ends up. In the same week that Silicon Valley elites, including OpenAI chief Sam Altman and his husband, I'm joking, were revealed to be bankrolling Preventative, a company whose goal is nothing less than genetically engineering babies, former Disney actor Callum Worthy unveiled Two Way, an AI app that lets users speak with digital recreations of their deceased loved ones for a monthly fee. So on one hand, we're genetically engineering babies, and on the other hand, we're resurrecting the ghosts of our loved ones. Now, have you read Mary Shelley's Frankenstein? No? Okay. How about the Bible? No, not the Bible either. Okay, right. We're in serious trouble.
He's getting bigger.
Here is that two-way technology. Why would you not want your grandma around forever? And if you're going to start creating grandmas, why not have one with massive tits? I mean, where do you draw the line?
See?
Oh, honey, that's wonderful.
Kicking like crazy.
He's listening. Put your hand on your tummy and hum to him. You used to love that.
What I despise about it is the sort of sort of sentimental excellence of the construction is a good advert. Who among us don't miss our dead relatives? Who among us don't hanker after our ancestors? Ancestor worship is found in every single culture worthy of the name. Reverence for those that went before you, the golden generation, the great generation, and all of our individual, sentimental, deep loving attachments to those that we've lost being rebooted and metastasized here, ultimately to sell a product that is gonna be dubious. The very same tech will be used to create galling pornography, obviously, and also that kind of stimulation of false states that could be attained through the surrender of the ego, the surrender of the self, not its further augmentation and an unwillingness to yield what is plainly God's domain. Render unto Caesar what is Caesar's, money, bullshit, and everything else is God's. This is God's domain.
It feels like he's dancing in there.
Oh,
Mom, would you tell Charlie that bedtime story you always used to tell me?
once upon a time, there was a baby unicorn who didn't know he knew how to fly. This baby unicorn was like your mom because she didn't know that she knew how to fly, but she knew how to do all kinds of fabulous things.
Often technology is met with cynicism and suspicion. Indeed, Ned Ludd and his glorious Luddite movement, smashing up the spinning jennies, is still a byword, Luddites and Ludditism, for opposing technology that will advance our lives. And when we look back to the native people of these lands that thought that having their photograph taken would steal their souls, we look at it almost with a roll of the eyes. But now, in the Instagram deluge, in the blizzard of online information, what is it that's stealing your soul? Where is your soul now? Is it trapped in 2 dimensions somewhere? Are you staring mirror, mirror on the wall, asking continually for appraisal and affirmation from dead, pixelated ghosts, comforting yourself with the words of a dead and unloving grandmother, waiting for the birth of a genetically engineered baby? Hopefully a sexy one that you can send to Epstein Island.
Hi, Grandma.
Hey, Charlie. How was school today?
It was really fun. I made this crazy shot in basketball.
I don't really care that much about basketball.
It's good that it's making her at least somewhat recalcitrant in the endless slew of mawkishness that's on display here. But my nan, my most beloved grandma, she was a bit racist sometimes, and we had to deal with it. Maybe this grandma will be a little bit racist. Do you like gambling? It's dangerous. It's bad for you. Don't do it. But if you do it, use Polymarket. You can gamble on anything. If you follow politics, you know everyone's got an opinion. Your group chats, pundits, and of course me. We've all got opinions, right? But Polymarket can actually get real odds on what's likely to happen. Why don't you gamble your way to the top, like Biff in Back to the Future 2, when he got that almanac? You will be like Biff. Polymarket is a prediction market where people trade on real events, elections, debates, policy moves, erections, and honestly, it's great. And it doesn't stop at politics. There are markets on the economy, tech, sports, pop culture, erections, and even weird stuff that takes over the internet for a week. It's all live, it's transparent, and it gives you a vibe check on what people really think. Oh, look at these people on Epstein Island. Who knew? You stinking, filthy perverts. Not you, I mean them. You didn't go to Epstein Island, did you? You were just at home. What was the worst thing you've done? Looked at porn. Shouldn't do that either, actually. And if you look at Polymarkets, you can gamble on why and what type of porn. Oh, look at that, big boobs. Black versus white, using their winkies as swords. I don't know. Sith versus Jedi. Work it out for yourselves using Polymarket. See you later, baby.
What about the crush?
Stop. Grandma, stop talking.
Just tell me one thing.
Look who's going to be a great grandmother.
Oh, Charlie.
So the bounds of the real and the possible are being reevaluated and engineered. We all know that there is something in matter that is of spirit. You know, it's a miracle that most of us can move our bodies at the behest of our mind and that all of our organs are functioning. There is something miraculous in us understanding and knowing morality, knowing what is right and wrong, knowing that we shouldn't lie or shouldn't hurt other people or exploit other people. It's almost like there is a code and a setting. We're moving now into encoding new realities, but for whose benefit? And to what end? You know, it's like the very essence of life is being reconfigured and reconsidered at the same time as there's so much moral disruption and so much lack of trust. For a moment, consider that these people are being resurrected while most people are confused in one way or another about what Epstein Island represents. Did Jeffrey Epstein even die? We're living in a 360 simulacrum. For me, it's interesting because I personally experienced having my past maneuvered around. For example, like when in 2004, 2005, 2006, all that, I was being celebrated as a shagger of the year. And then subsequently, just because of the way media moves and the way the Lord moves, I found myself as a person that was countercultural in my commentary rather than pro-cultural, even if I thought of myself as a real rebel when I'm sleeping around and stuff. My past has been utilized and reformed. People have been invited to reconsider encounters with me in bathrooms as potentially nefarious. And reality is what they want control of. Remember how many times I've said, I don't know if you pay attention to this stuff, agriculture, man masters nature. Industrial revolution, man masters matter. Technological revolution, man masters intelligence and attention, 2 components of consciousness. It's reality itself. There ain't much further you can go once you're genetically engineering babies and digitally resurrecting grandmas. Reality itself is now protean in your hands. You're not just erecting a cadaver comprised of bolted together parts like Frankenstein. You are creating an entire reality. There is no way that the intention behind it is good. And there is no way that the results of it can be good.
Congratulations.
She says that he's been kicking a lot, though. Like, a little too much.
Tell her to put her hand on her tummy.
Tell her to genetically engineer that baby so it doesn't have legs, just little nublets. They can be like corncob legs. Tell her there's no problem just to open up her belly and to nibble on its corncob legs. Why not abort the baby and eat it? Why don't we just do what the fuck we like? We're gods now, Charlie. Don't think that you can keep me trapped in the sentimentality. I'm granted an imagination. I'll go where I want in here, do what I want in here. That's the only force we've got. That's the only domain that can protect us. The sense of humor is the connection between the holy and humility. And they want to deny you that. They want to deny you your sexuality outside of the conditions and terms offered here. They want control of what you can say and what you can't say. And now, even your grandmother's corpse is no longer sacred. They'll drag her out of that dry ground and, oh, come on, man, you're taking it too seriously. It's only this. Nothing's only anything, fuckers.
And hummed him. You loved that.
You would have loved this moment.
You can call anytime.
Okay, Mom, I just need a quick video.
Is this like an audition or something?
No, Mom, just 3 minutes.
You need my best side?
Can I sing another one?
I can play the piano.
She's so talented.
I am. I'm your mother after all.
Keep going. Why don't you start by telling us a little bit about yourself?
These 2 stories might appear separate, but together they signal a profound and accelerating shift. The tech industry is no longer content with reshaping our economies, our media, or our politics. It's now reaching for something far more intimate and far more dangerous. The power to manipulate the beginning and end of human life itself. And unlike past moral crises, this one is emerging quietly, disguised as compassion, convenience, and progress, which is the new masquerade that we're invited to engage in. Remember, power is protecting you. These tools are for your convenience. The dream of designing improved children may be marketed as a humanitarian breakthrough, and believe me, as a parent, I would like to improve my children. No, I love those guys. But history teaches us exactly where such dreams lead. A century ago, eugenics movements across the West claimed they were simply promoting healthier populations. That rhetoric paved the way for sterilization campaigns in the United States and Britain, and later for the monstrous Nazi vision of a biologically engineered master race. Right, let's have a look at what the Nazis were up to. They were a lovely bunch.
It was an almost unbelievable project.
I liked him. That Hitler, what a guy. Don't be so enthusiastic, mate. They are the Nazis.
The most secret one of the Nazi regime, the Lebensborn program, meaning spring or source of life, to give birth to children who were seen as perfect in the eyes of the Nazis. Tall, blonde, blue-eyed.
The Hemsworths.
Creating a master race, the dream of Adolf Hitler.
But they're still Australian, aren't they?
In 1935, Heinrich Himmler, the head of the SS, launched the program, setting up a network of nurseries.
What's that? It's reporting babies together. It's like when my gerbil had babies.
Germany, Austria and France. Women who were pregnant by a member of the SS invited to go to the centres towards the end of their pregnancies to give birth. all had to pass pseudo-scientific tests to prove that they met the racial purity criteria defined by the regime. The Lebensborn project was brought to a halt with the liberation and the fall of the Third Reich.
Stop putting in babies that close. They can't, like, that's not hygienic.
But in 10 years, around 20,000 babies were born in the Nazi maternity hospitals. In March 1948, at the end of the 8th Nuremberg trial, the 4 leaders of the Lebensborn project were charged with crimes against humanity.
We were just trying our hardest. We were just trying to stop the spread. We were just trying to help people. Why won't you follow the science?
They pleaded not guilty. They claimed that they ran a charitable organisation that helped mothers in difficulty to give birth.
That's so much like the Nazis, isn't it? We're actually running a charitable organisation that helps mothers. But that kind of Nazi mindset, that's in institutions of power everywhere. Just check it out. Check out these days. We're just trying to help people. That's what they'll say about that AI generation of your grandma. That's what they'll say about genetically engineered things. Neuralink, all of it. We're here to help you. Digital ID, help. We're going to help you into total incarceration.
They were convicted, but only for their membership of the SS. As for the children of Lebensborn, well, most of them only discovered their true origins much later.
Jeffrey Epstein didn't discover them because they're going to be fucking gorgeous, these kids. They all can be working at Jeffrey Epstein's beach cabana. Oh, just a little towel slung about their waist, perfect little Nazi children. What begins with eliminating disease always threatens to end with eliminating difference. Preventative's promise to correct devastating genetic conditions echoes the same seductive language, soft, benevolent, and catastrophically naive. Once society accepts the premise that humans can be enhanced, we step onto a slope that has never led anywhere good. Now, this is obviously a story that personally impacts me. You may be aware that my son was born with a congenital condition, tetralogy of Fallot, as well as DeGeorge syndrome, and we were offered late-term abortion, and probably in the future, parents of such a child will be offered the opportunity to genetically enhance or improve their child. But I can tell you, now that my son is here and well, that he's perfect. He is as God intends him to be. And it's precisely this problem that we have to confront. We are willing to sacrifice children to false idols, false gods. These days, these false idols and false gods are not found on poles or on altars. They are held within ourselves. As technology reaches the point where we might live in a fully augmented realm, we have to have a kind of moral veracity, a willingness to accept that every time we enter into God's domain, we are taking an incredible risk through disobedience. Man, I suppose on one level, you wouldn't even want to wear braces on your teeth or contact lenses or have hair transplants or take Botox or employ teeth whitening technology. Are we already in God's domain? I don't know. Certainly it's possible for me to imagine a spiritual state where I would happily accept decline and deterioration as part of a sort of a thinning of my material self as I move closer to God. But as we enter this realm where life itself is considered to be the domain of human beings, as always offered to us in this kind of sanitized, Huxley-esque, technologically advanced perfection, we recognize that the diabolical now has a very different aesthetic. It's no longer red horns and goat legs. It's a kind of sanitary vision of a perfect, serene world. And we're all supping on the soma, which Huxley predicted would be a kind of cohesive plasma within which all of us remain serene, calm, hypnotized. Even the scientific landmarks we once treated as alarming now seem almost innocent in comparison. When Dolly the sheep was cloned in the 1990s, the world panicked. Governments rushed to regulate genetic manipulation. Today, however, Silicon Valley's investors openly search for countries where they can create the first gene-edited baby shielded from Western law. That which once shocked us is now a mere stepping stone, and in the shadow of that normalization lies Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, a timeless warning about the arrogance of those who believe they can control life itself. Dr. Frankenstein's sin was not creation, it was presumption. And like Shelley's doomed scientists, today's technologists charge forward convinced of their own brilliance, blind to the consequences that will inevitably follow. If preventative disrupts the beginning of life, two-way disrupts the end. Victorian spiritualists once held seances to contact the dead, practices that were criticized even then for exploiting grief and distorting reality. Today, the same impulse has returned, dressed in the sleek language of AI innovation. But where Victorian mediums sought emotional connection, two-way State offers a subscription-based simulation, a monetized imitation of the dead whose purpose is not healing, but retention. Psychologists warn that such digital necromancy may prevent people from confronting the finality of loss, trapping them in an artificial afterlife generated by corporate servers. Even the app's critics have recognized its moral inversion, a parody of resurrection in which the dead speak on demand, powered not by memory or spirit, but by algorithms trained to mimic sentiment. Religious and philosophical traditions across cultures insist that mortality is not a glitch. Buddhists teach that clinging to what has passed only deepens suffering, and Christian reflections on death emphasize that grief has a sacred purpose, that resurrection, when it came, was not something that humans could manufacture. Both these traditions recognize an uncomfortable truth. Life derives meaning from its limits. To erase those limits is to erase something essential about the human condition. Yet that is precisely the boundary Silicon Valley now seeks to cross. Note how many times the state, within which I would incorporate the upper echelons of Silicon Valley, attempt to emulate holy, godly power. Come to us as little children. We can sanctify you after death. We can suspend death. We can rid you of death. We can resurrect the dead. We can create. When we are like God, we are glorious. When we offend and insult God, we are diabolical. Counterfeits of God's grace is the literal sin of Satan. Satan's original sin, the sin that causes Lucifer to be cast out of heaven, is that he wants his own kingdom, his own circuitry. I can see it almost as a kind of digital board, a circuit board. I can see it as a Taiwanese semiconductor board. I can see it that way, that we're trying to create different realities. Maybe Lucifer fell to Silicon Valley. Maybe silicon is the prima materia of Satan's creation. In both gene editing and AI resurrections, the same ideology emerges. Human nature is a problem to be solved. Imperfection is a defect. Suffering is an inefficiency. Death is an outdated inconvenience. And at the center of this new worldview stands a wealthy elite convinced that because they can afford to transcend human boundaries, they should. Their tools are not merely innovative, they are transformative in ways society is not prepared to confront. When billionaires gain the power to design their children's traits and to digitally prolong the presence of their dead, what they're really acquiring is dominion over the human story itself. The danger is not hypothetical, it's unfolding now, quietly, subtly, and with the kind of momentum that is difficult to reverse once established. Gene-edited babies will not remain confined to curing disease. AI avatars of the dead will not remain harmless novelties. And once people begin outsourcing the most profound experiences of life, birth, grief, loss, all experiences, by the way, denied to us during the pandemic period in order to stop the spread and to save grandma. The whims of corporate platforms mean that we risk surrendering something far greater than privacy or autonomy. We risk surrendering the meaning of humanity itself. The future being built is arriving faster than the mortal framework needed to confront it. Unless we recognize the ominous direction in which these technologies point, we may wake up in a world where the arc of life, from the genetic makeup of our children to the voices of our dead, belong not to us, but to the companies that have learned how to monetize it. Mary Shelley's imagination was able to render in archetypal form the nature of a problem that has continued to increase. You might say that Mary Shelley ain't the originator of that idea. Indeed, what is genius? And in a way, is she mimicking the classical tales of Prometheus, for example? I don't know. Let's discuss that together over time. But certainly what this archetype helps us to understand is the limits and boundaries of human power and what the domain of God might look like. In a time where people don't believe in God in a serious way, even though there is a resurgent interest, thankfully, in the kingdom, everything's on the table. Nothing's off limits. Your dead grandmother, who 1 minute is used as an avatar to keep you in your house, is now used as an avatar to get you to spend money. The protection of life itself, which is a convenient undergirding for the restrictions that took place in COVID, are now used to justify aesthetically attuned babies. What they want, and I say they, you know what I mean, global cult, global imperialist network of powers, is nothing short of total control over reality. And they are on the precipice of achieving that. But the truth is, and the glorious truth is, that whatever it was in Mary Shelley is in you and I, a type of genius, a type of divine spark, a connection to the whole, a connection to God, God's self. We are beloved of God. We are God's primary creation. We can oppose this diabolical and satanic project if only we, like Christ, are willing to die for it. That's just what I think, though. Let me know what you think in the comments and the chat. Remember, we stream at these times. We have interviews with great guests like these. We do live streams that are tremendous fun. And we do these Russell Brand Unpacked segments where we take a deep dive into news stories that I hope you enjoy. If you want more stuff like this, subscribe to Rumble Premium. And if you want to support me, support Reborn. Every dollar you spend gets you an entry into the draw to win this glorious Jeep. Look at it go there. Isn't it magnificent? You could be driving around in that thing recklessly with a genetically engineered baby and all of your ancestors jostling around in the back, as far as I can see, in this hedonic, decadent, moral-free society that seems to be being formulated. All of you can have an orgy on your own personal private island. So you can do that if you want to, but I would suggest you head in the other direction. In the meanwhile, if you can, stay free. Thanks for watching the video. Have a look at this one over here, or join us Monday, Wednesday and Friday on Rumble.